Hi, folks. I'm going to show you how to do the Google Slide scavenger hunt today. I am going to record over an example that we have here that is found in your Google Classroom. If you can't find it in your stream in your classwork, you can always look under the topic of library. That's where I posted it. So basically, learning Google Slides is a great tool to have in your back pocket for when you want to create any kind of presentation to show. Sometimes you want to do a slideshow to show some research that you've done. Sometimes you want to make a collection of a memory, maybe a vacation you went on, or just even filling it with images. It's just a fun way to present information to people. And, we can do very basic things on Google Slides, or we can get pretty fancy pretty quickly. So I'm going to show you this. I think the scavenger hunt here does a really good job of teaching you just enough tips and tricks and tools so that you can make your presentations look pretty amazing. So each slide has a job on there. So I'm going to read through and go through these with you and do an example myself. Now I have titled this one Miss Flaherty slide because this is the one I'm going to be working on today. When you open yours, it will force you to make your own copy. That way, we won't all be working on the same slideshow. And so you can see the first slide pops up and says on the Google Slide scavenger hunt, your mission is to complete the 10 scavenger hunt items in blue. There is one challenge on each slide. Well, actually, that's not exactly true. I've looked and there are more than one challenges on these slides. So let's go through and do this one first. It says change the theme of this presentation. Okay, well, that's easy enough because when you look at this menu just above the slide, you see one of them says theme. I click on theme and this menu pops up here. These are just examples of different themes. When you click on them, you'll see how it applies to all the slides. So when I click on this black slide, it will now change all of my slides to black and my font will be white. If I click on this one, you can see how it changes and so on. I did notice that some of these slides, or these themes rather, are very interesting. For example, this one changes just the title slide, but then all the other slides just have this little tiny fan icon on there. The other thing to be aware of is if you pick a slide theme that has a border around it like this one, if you go to add a background image, it will only show up on this actual um, frame here. So we don't want to choose something like that. Same thing with this one here. When you choose something that shows up on half the slide, all your images will go just on the one half. So we want to keep something pretty simple here. All right, let's stick to just one that just changes a little bit. So when I click on this theme, of course, you can pick what you would like for your theme, but I'll show you as we go through this why it's important to pick a theme that's not too busy. We don't want to take away from the work that you're putting on each of these slides. So when I click this one, you can see all that happened was it changes the first slide, adds that green bar at the bottom, but these slides only change in that they move the font to the top in a different style of font. All right. So I'll click this theme. And now that I have it, I'm going to X out. And that is our first slide done. All right. Let's go to slide number 2. Change the background of this slide to a beach scene. Insert a beach ball. Then animate your beach ball so it moves. All right. Well, again, I'm going to look at my menu at the top here and I see background. All right, for background, you can choose to make your background a solid color, or you can actually choose an image on the web. So let's choose our image. We want to be a beach background. Now that popped up, I'll show you what you'll get. I already did this, so that's why it does not, it remembers your last search. So yours will come up here, and then you will go down to Google image search, and that is where you can type in the image you're looking for. Now I'm going to type in beach background And you can see it starts to pop up, and that way it's going to give me a whole big backdrop for a beach. All right, I'm going to choose this one right here. I click insert, or I can double click on it and then done. And now you see that there is my beach. The problem with adding a background, you have to be very careful that your font or the information you're putting on your slide is still visible. If I were going to keep this background and I needed that font there, that text, I would have to change my text to either white, or I would have to put a background behind that, like maybe put a box around it. Um, but for this particular purpose, we just need a background that is a beach, and we need to find a beach ball. So now that we've added our background, we need to add an image. So we can insert an image by clicking on insert, or we can use this icon here for insert image. Once we insert the image, or we click on the drop down, it will give us a choice. We can take something we already have on our computer, which I'm sure you probably don't have a beach ball on your computer, or we can search the web, or there are other places to look for it too. But let's search the web right now. We are going to look for a beach ball. Now, if you do beach ball and these come up, clip art or PNG, clip art is going to look cartoony. It won't be a real photograph of a beach ball, and that's okay. And PNG is going to make that ball so that the background of the ball does not show up. So in other words, if it was like this, where you see a box around it, you wouldn't see that. You would just see an actual ball. Looks like it's floating in air. So let's try this one. I just double clicked on it, and there it is. Now you see that there's a little white spot on the bottom. If you don't like that, you can find a beach ball that doesn't show up with that. I am going to resize this. I'm going to click and drag this corner in so I have a manageable size beach ball. Let's put it right here. All right, now my job is to make this ball fly out and fly back in. So it's going to look like it's bouncing. Well, the way that we do that is we have to make sure it is selected. Now, what I mean by selected is when I click away, you don't see the handlebars. When I click on the image, now it's highlighted with handlebars that can resize or reshape this ball. Now I'm going to go up to the word animate up here at the top of the menu. Click on animate, and again, this motion um, workspace shows up. So right now it says that our ball, it just automatically assigns it that it will fade in when we click the space bar. Well, we don't want it to fade in. We want it to come in from the top so it looks like it's bouncing. So instead of fade in, I'm going to have it fly in from the top, and not on the click, but after previous. So what that means is I no longer have to count on using my space bar. I can just, when the slide shows up, the ball will just come down. All right. So I like after previous because then the person who's playing the presentation doesn't have to think about what they have to do. They don't have to press the space bar. All right. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to press play. Okay, that allows my ball to come down. Well, I need my ball to look like it's bouncing, so I'm going to have it fly back out again. So I have to stop that after I press play, add an animation. So I'm going to keep adding. And again, we said if it flew in from the top, we want it to fly out the top. And then again, after previous. So our two animations are fly in from the top and fly out to the top. All right. Now I'm going to do that another 2 times because I want to appear to be bouncing. So fly in from the top, and it's easy because once you have it done once, you can just repeat. All right. So let's do one more. Fly out to top after previous. Let's test it out by pressing play. And if we like it, we'll keep it. All right. That looks bouncy enough for me. I'm going to stop that and X out of my motion. And now I know that on this slide, I have a motion. I can see that little icon over here. All right, let's go to slide number 3. Create a Venn diagram, 2 overlapping circles. below to compare and contrast the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Use the Explore tool to find your information. Okay, well, you're going to learn something else here too in a second. First of all, let's get our overlapping circles. So we're going to go to our shapes here. This is the easiest way to do this. We click on our shapes, and the most common shapes are right here in the first drop down. And I'm going to grab a circle, and I'm actually going to end up making a couple of ovals. All right. One thing I like to do is I like to keep my images, my drawings, my creations symmetrical. So what that means is it's the same on both sides. I don't want to have one circle larger than the other. So first of all, I noticed it made this circle gray. So I'm going to go to the paint can here, and I'm going to make it transparent. That means that everything will show through. All right, now that it's highlighted, I'm going to just duplicate this image and use it for my other circle. So as long as it's highlighted, I can go up to Edit. I can slide down to Duplicate, and it makes an additional oval. And I'm going to use my arrows to move it over to right about where I think that should go. I want to make sure I have enough space to put some information here and also some here. Now, again, we are comparing and contrasting. You guys are very good at that. The Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. So let's put a heading here. I'll put a little text box, and I will make this font a little bigger. Pacific Ocean. And I can always stretch my text box if I don't want my word to go on the next line. Now, again, like I said, I like to keep things the same. So as long as that's highlighted, I'm going to duplicate by going to Edit, Duplicate, and I'm going to use my arrows and just move that over here. It's a big time saver, but I don't want this to say Pacific Ocean, so I'm going to click inside the box and change this to Atlantic Ocean. Again, you can see it ran out of room there. I'll just pull that a little bit. And you may even want to make this bold. You got to make sure all of your text is highlighted before you bold, and then maybe put an underline there. So let's do, I need to highlight it, underline, and now I have heading. All right, I'm not going to put a heading in the middle section because I know that in a Venn diagram, when they overlap, it just means this is true of both of those. So the other task here was to find information using Explore. Well, this is one of those areas where I forget what I'm doing and I have to ask for help. So this is a very handy feature here. This help right here, you can click on anytime you're looking for a tool and you can't remember where it's located. And I'm going to type Explore, and I can see it start to pop up. And once I click that, it pops up right here and it gives me a place to do a Google search. So I am going to type in Pacific Ocean and see what happens. So it will give me some web results. It will give me images, and it'll show me anything I have in my drive. So let's see. The first thing I read about Pacific Oceans is that it is the largest and deepest of Earth's oceanic divisions. All right, let's put that in there. So I'm going to put a text box underneath Pacific Ocean, and I'm actually going to make this a bulleted list. So I can click on these three dots here. Those will show up when I'm in a text box, and I can make a bulleted list, and it will just automatically put those bullets in front of any every time I hit return. So I can say it is the largest, largest and deepest ocean. All right. Now again, if I don't want my words, if I want them to be across further, I can even move this whole text box over. I'm going to click back in here. So I'm after the word ocean, and once I hit return, you see that it automatically puts another bullet there. All right. I know without looking at these web results that the Pacific Ocean is located on the west coast. So located, oops, on the west coast of the US. All right. So over here, let's see what we can find out about the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean. And what we find out is that the Atlantic Ocean is the second largest of the world's oceans. Well, we already know which one is the largest. Now, you can either duplicate this box, which is what I'm going to do because why make more work for yourself when you can just reuse what you have here? All right, so I want to change some of the words though, because that was what I wrote about Pacific. So it is the second, oops, taking rid of that capital L. So second largest ocean. I don't want to say deepest, second largest ocean. And it is not located on the west coast of the US. It is located on the east coast of the US. Without looking at my Explorer, I can tell you that these two oceans are in fact salt water. So I'll just say these are both salt water. That's one thing that they have in common. You can have a little fun with this Explorer, but you see how it works now, and you can add your own details there. All right, that's slide number 3. Let's move on to slide number 4. This one says to insert a map of the world and add red stars to all of the places you would like to visit. All right, well, we already know how to insert an image, but let's do that again. We can use this icon here, or we can go up to the menu at the top. So we're here already. Let's insert an image from searching the web. And remember, it does remember our search, so we don't need a beach ball. We need a map of the world, or I could say world map. Um, it's up to you to pick something that you like. They're all going to be very similar. I will click this one. I just double clicked on it, or you can click um, and tell it to insert. All right, so I can resize this, but if I stretch it any other way, it's going to distort. So I want to make sure I'm not pulling here on the top or here on the side because that will give us a distorted view. And we really don't want that when it comes to something like a map. All right, so here is my map, but now my next job was to insert or to place stars. Oops, let's click away. Place stars on places I would like to visit. So I want to make a star first. I tried to click away. There we go. All right, so I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to go to my shapes and I'm going to go down to call out. Actually, call out is which one is the selection that has the star. So you can see the star is the fourth one in on call outs. And I just click and drag down until I get a star the size that I would like. And it said to make that star red. So I'm going to go to the paint can while it's selected. And I'm going to make that red. Now, you know me, I don't like to reinvent the wheel here. So while it's selected, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate these stars so that I have, let's do 3 of them. 3 stars. If you want to do more than 3, that's up to you, but make sure you have your other things done. So now I can click and drag my star to where I want to go visit someday if I'm lucky. There I go. Where else? Oh, let's go to South America. All right. There are some places to visit. You can have fun with this. You can see that my red stars don't really show up. So if I don't like the way that they look, I can always make a big border around them. I can make my border nice and heavy so that when you click away, you can see it stands out a little bit better. All right. Next slide, number 5. Use word art to identify one kind of food that you do not enjoy eating. Okay, well, word art is one of those things that it can be very plain and blah, or you can make it really fancy. So it's kind of hidden in here. It's under Insert, and then you're going to go down to Word Art. I'm going to type in a word, and you don't have to worry about anything here, no font or color or anything. You just type in a word. So my word is shrimp. Now, when I hit return, it just gives me a plain old shrimp using Arial font and just this plain gray. I'm going to have fun with this and choose a different font. Let's choose something silly and okay. Fonts are one of my favorite things to mess around with. Let's see. You can always add more too, but let's try Mystery Quest. Oh, that's cute. All right, so I can change the color of it. I might make it like a more of a shrimp color. All right, I can resize it so it's bigger. I can create if I wanted to make the outline, let's make it something you can see. Purple, but make the outline bigger. You can see how it really changes. I wouldn't recommend that, but play around with it, have fun with it. That is word art. Okay. And I think that is it for this one. All right, slide number 6. Use Scribble to draw a picture of your favorite fruit on this slide. All right, the scribble is found here where the line is. You see that when you go to the line segment, it has a drop down, and you can draw an arrow or some connectors or curves, but the scribble is at the very bottom. The tricky thing about the scribble is you always have to have those crosshairs, and I'll show you what I mean. So anytime you lift your pencil or your finger off the mouse or the keypad, it will take away the crosshairs. So you either have to do it all in one drawing, or you have to keep coming back and selecting scribble. So let's see if I can get this to work for me without having to stop. Oh, there we go. That's the best one I've done so far. All right, so it's not a piece of pizza, you'll see. Now I have to keep going back and selecting scribble. And let's see if you can guess what I'm making. It is a fruit. Again, there I go again with scribble. Make my little circles here. Oh, and see, I got to go back again, even though I'm making multiple of the same thing. And hopefully by now you have figured out this is a juicy piece of watermelon. Hopefully yours looks better than mine. Again, not a fan of the scribble, but maybe you will be. All right, slide number 7. Describe your favorite holiday tradition in Quattrocento font and build a transition into this slide. All right, let me start with a text box, and I will describe my favorite holiday tradition. Let's see. First of all, I want to change my font, and I want to, it always lists my font in alphabetical order. If I go down, there's the B, C's. I'm looking for Q, and it is right there, Quattrocento. All right, so oh, that's way too small. Let's make that bigger. All right, my favorite holiday tradition is baking Christmas cookies with my family. I like to give them away to special friends. All right. That is a holiday tradition I love, but we're not finished yet. We have to build in a transition into this slide. So transitions, again, are found up in this menu right at the top. A transition is just how your slide flips from one slide to another. So right now you can see I have no transition on any of these. If I want to put a transition here, I just click on none. I'm going to there's not a huge selection, but I'll let's choose cube. Now to try it out, we're going to press play and you'll see that it's going to flip like that. And I have to press stop in order to get that to go away. Now I can apply this to all the slides if I wanted to. If I want to keep the same transition between all the slides, I could click here, but that wasn't the direction here. So we're going to click out of there and that slide is finished. All right, slide number 8. Use this slide to create a collage of tilted and overlapping images of your favorite things. Okay, this one is something that you're going to have to do on your own.